And good evening there. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Gerv and Big Mo show. This is Ricky Hampton coming to you on a Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody is doing great. We are coming to you with breaking news of the NBA's new season. How you guys doing, Derrick and Paul?
Doing great,
Doing
man.
well, Ricky. Doing great today. It's a good Saturday. Glad everybody's tuning in. Good day.
Oh, it is a great day here. We got the NBA season restarting up. What do you guys see? What do you guys see happening down in Orlando?
Well, hopefully basketball's played finally.
That's my answer.
We're gonna definitely get that.
They're supposed to. I think they're supposed to.
Let me read this that I have. This is from the Associated Press. The NBA will finish its regular season with 88 games at Disney's ESPN Worldwide Sports Complex near Orlando, Florida, with at least 52 games televised on TNT and ESPN, ABC, and NBA TV. The season begins July 30th and continues to August 14th. There will be no more than 7 games a day, with some starting as early as 12:30 Eastern Time, and it will be nonstop NBA from early afternoon through the evening, with games played on 3 courts in the complex. It's the world's greatest AAU event, the way it's going to be played, fellas.
It's a lot like the NBA Summer League here in Las Vegas, actually. When they play the Summer League here, they start games around noon and they go into the evening. There's 2 arenas. They play in the arena over at UNLV and Cox Pavilion at UNLV. So it's got a similar feel as the Summer League, the NBA Summer League, with all the teams being there.
It's a perfect microcosm of 2020. You guys know it's been kind of a different year. So I think that'll make, hey, Ricky, I'm looking at it this way, and Paul as well. It's fun. It's going to be something we've never seen before. And I've heard people talk about, using the asterisk and all that. And I totally disagree, because I think this year guys have to make adjustments overall. And we'll also find out who's been taking care of themselves during the break, working out. So we'll find out a lot about the players. And that's the part I'm excited about. It's not just the games. It's all the other little intricacies that go into the game, who's getting their rest and all the other things. So that's why I'm excited for the game to be coming back.
Talk about practice. Yeah, I mean, you put an asterisk by something if it's not really earned, I think. I mean, it's a little different, but,
right.
There's going to be 7-game series and the best teams are going to win. So asterisk or no asterisk. The big thing that, in the playoffs, if you go to the NBA Finals, you're talking about playing 3 extra months. That's what you play to get to the finals in a lot of different series, and those are up and down, and you go through a lot. Guys get injured, guys get sick. Now you're going to add the virus testing to this mix, so you're going to add one more thing that can happen and really change the outcome of a playoff series. I mean, God forbid someone tests positive in the middle of the West Finals, between the Clippers and the Lakers or whoever, and they can't play because of a virus, not because of a hurt ankle or knee. But as far as, I agree with you, D, an asterisk, whoever wins this thing is going to earn it for sure.
Hey, Ricky, I need you and Paul to tell me what you think. And Paul, from a player perspective, right? These guys, they said only 16 out of 302 were infected. And to me, I know it's 5.6%. 16 out of 302 to me is something that's worrisome, man. That's a big number for me.
Well, I agree. I mean, anything is dangerous. However, I look at it the other way. These are healthy, athletic players that are testing positive. Are they sick? Are they in the hospital? Do they have to recuperate? I mean, there's thousands of people that are test positive that don't ever get sick, and they're asymptomatic and they can pass that on. So, there is a concern there, less of concern of being in a hospital or on a ventilator. And if that's the case, then if I'm a player and I have a family and I have someone that's, maybe my mother's living with me and she's older and I'm concerned about that, why wouldn't I go somewhere, go away to a bubble, take me out of that equation, out of my family's equation, and put me in a bubble somewhere else where even if I did test positive, I couldn't infect anybody? I mean, I don't know. There's two different ways to think about this. I mean, if you're in this bubble and you're being tested every day, is that not the safest place for you to be rather than at home, going to the grocery store or, going to a restaurant, whatever that might be?
Well, yesterday, Ricky, did you see the interview? I don't know if you guys saw it. Ricky, you might have been shooting a 70 at the time. They interviewed Tobias Harris on ESPN.
I was playing golf, but I was not shooting 70. I can guarantee you that.
What about you, Paul? Paul, did you see it?
I saw a little of it, yeah.
It's a good interview, man. Tobias, he spends a lot of time talking to these guys. And I'm like you, Paul, you got to look at both ends of the spectrum. Me, if I was in the situation myself, I have to be honest, I would probably be I would be 98%, even before they had to make the deadline. I would have been already in 95%, 98%, because I believe in the NBA. And I believe that they're going to take all the precautions. They're going to exhaust every avenue. And I would be willing to go ahead and take that chance of it. I don't have kids. So for me, it would be an easier situation. I can understand a guy like Avery Bradley, a Trevor Ariza. No way can I question them. But for me, I'm like Tobias. You stay positive. You trust in the man, the Lord above. And, some people, you can't shut down. And everyone sees things differently. But me, I would be ready to play.
What, guys? I tell you, you guys both did it in the NBA. I would see that if I was in the NBA, I'd be ready to play. I will make this sacrifice for my family because my opportunity to earn generational type wealth is very limited. You guys know how short that career could be. So if I got to be away from it for a month, 6 weeks, or whatever, to make that kind of money for my children, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I have sacrificed. I've been away from my family for 6-7 months coaching overseas. Not making that kind of money, but just to make an income. But
yeah.
My thought process is, listen, I'm in Las Vegas. We opened up, with social distancing and stuff like that. I went to restaurants. I went to the casino. I'd go to a movie if I could. Now we're masks required in the public now. So you go out, you have a mask, and if you go to a restaurant, you take it off to eat. So I do that anyway. I'm a 63-year-old guy that's in semi-okay health. But if I'm a professional athlete and I'm in good health, the only sacrifice, in my opinion, is if you have a family member at home that cannot be taken care of if you're not there. So if you have someone that can take care of them the right way, and you have to go somewhere to sacrifice to be away for, 2 months, whatever that number is, but I'm going to be in the safest position I could ever be in. I'm going to be in a bubble with doctors being tested every day. So, I see it as that way. I mean, I'm going to want to play anyway. And then I'm going to weigh, if I have to stay home from my family that they can be okay, I'm staying home. But let's face it, NBA players, most of them make a lot of money and have people taking care of their families. So, it becomes an inconvenience to me. And to have an inconvenience and be able to play games, I'm taking that shot. Look
here, man. I'm going to tell you guys this quickly. This will be the first time I started watching the game of basketball. Paul, I was born in '63, Ricky. So I started watching the game in about '69, I would say, all right? This is going to be the first time in 51 years that I'm happy to see 50 dribbles. It's hard. I have missed the game, man. I have missed the game. And if I got to look at the 50 dribbles, this probably be the first time I'm like, ooh, James, give me about 5 more.
You want to see basketball, even if it's bad basketball. I'm with you there.
I just want to see them.
We miss sports. I mean,
Yeah.
I miss baseball. Golf is back, but you know, I miss the Masters when they didn't have it. I miss the U.S. Open, which always occurs on my birthday. It'll be good to get sports back. But guys, we got these teams going down there. Do you think this new format gives anybody an advantage, or is it a disadvantage to anybody? Paul, then you, Derrick.
Well, I think, you know, I've looked at all their schedules, you know, and kind of broke them down, and ESPN's doing the same thing. And some people, you know, are saying some teams have an advantage with the schedule. Some teams saying different. Some teams saying the older teams that got a chance to rest up and get healthier are at advantage. Some people are saying the young teams that got themselves together at the advantage. I think you know, basketball gods treat everybody, you know, in certain ways. Sometimes the ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't go in, and that's going to happen down there. And you know, like we said before, the team that goes down there with a purpose blocks out all the other stuff. You know, the inconvenience. I don't want to order room service again. I don't have my regular barber. I can't, you know, block that all out and focus on basketball. You know, obviously some teams, you know, have an advantage over others. And really, when you look at the schedule and the standings, there are some teams that can really move up or down in the standings and help or hurt themselves. There are some outside chance that a number 9 will get in that couldn't get in. But for the most part, they're going to stay pretty much the same. So, you know, it's going to rely on, you know, like it always does in the playoffs, injuries and sickness.
Hey, Ricky, Houston, you know, I talked to Daryl Morey last week. And after talking to Daryl Morey, you know, sometimes things just fall into place. If you look at right now, with these teams being out and coming back for like a 3-week training, some of these guys still aren't going to be at their apex. So the teams that are going to have advantages are guys that can go off the dribble. Your stars like a Russell Westbrook, a James Harden, they're going to be hard to deal with now because some of the defensive schemes, the guys are still going to be rusty. So now it's going to be guys, the superstars get a chance to shine. The Giannis's, until these guys get back in full top shape, I think it gives a big advantage to the guys that can go off to the dribble and create their own shot or distribute.
Why would, so defense is going to be behind the offense, you saying?
It's like baseball. I get a pitcher's an advantage at first over the hitters. The pitching is going to be solid right from the beginning. The guys that can go off the dribble and create their own shot, the stars, are going to be the ones that are come back doing better while the other guys are getting adjusted. The stars they know what it takes. They've already been through all of these different scenarios. Except, well, this is different, but still, LeBron knows what to do. Kawhi knows how to prepare. So all the veterans like those guys, Chris Paul, they know how to stay ready. And so that gives them a big advantage over the younger guys.
Yeah, and if you look, like, let's take the Rockets then. Let's keep on them. They're in 6th spot, but they're only a game out of the 4th spot. And when you look at who they're going to play, so here's who they play. They play Dallas. They play they play the Bucks. They play Portland. They play the Lakers. Then they play Sacramento, San Antonio, Indiana, and the 76ers. So if most people look at that schedule, it's a pretty favorable schedule for them, you know. When you look at Portland, your team, D, you look at Portland, they play the Grizzlies the first game back, and that's the team that's ahead of them. So that's a twofer for them. If they can beat the Grizzlies in that first game back, now they got something going to maybe get that spot. Then they play Boston, Houston, Denver, Clippers. Those are all really good teams. And then they end up with the Sixers, the Mavs, and the Nets. So if they can get, like, this is a great example of what can happen. If they can jump on the Grizzlies that first game and get that win, and then wade through those tough ones with Boston and Houston and Denver, then come through a storm at the end, they might have a chance of getting that spot, the playoff spot.
Hey guys, let me get everybody caught up here. You're watching Gerv and Big Mo with former NBA players Derrick, Gervin, and Paul Mokeski. My man Nolan checked in and said, hey, why are you guys on the air? It's not Monday. Hey, Nolan, we will be on Monday as usual. We're doing just a
He didn't bring us bad luck, did he?
I don't know. I think
Come on, Noah, what's going on?
Nolan's up in Canada, so he's
Oh, you know that's one of your friends, Paul?
yeah. He's a good man.
Noah has us saying, come on, Noah, no.
Well, it looks like we knocked Ricky here, or knocked Ricky off though.
Yeah, you and I good, and Ricky, yeah.
So who you like? The West is kind of a little volatile. Do you? I think there's some movement that can go on there. You know, I know you like Portland a lot. Who else do you like in the West?
Man, I like Houston. I think you know what, man, and I'm gonna tell you what bothers me. Well, just things that happen, right? Right when Djokovic gets starts peaking, this happens. Him and Jamal Murray and Barton and those guys start clicking, and then this happened. But they say the Joker has supposedly lost all this weight, so you and I don't know if that's going to affect them in a good way or bad way. But Portland, I'm looking at, and I like Houston, man.
Well, the Joker's tested positive though, right? He's in quarantine.
Yeah, but they say he's still supposed to be coming back. And him and who else? Let me see. For his team, for Denver, he's coming back. Who else is supposedly tested quarantine the other day? These guys are still trying to come back, Paul. This doesn't teach, man.
It's better to test positive now and get through your quarantine than it is to test positive later on, where you're going to miss games and/or playoff series for sure.
Do you think the kids this helps the kids understand, man, the importance of the game, how much they love? We play, these guys make millions of dollars, but they love playing the game, man. They do anything to get back on that court, and that's not money. That's just a love for the game. And I hope these young kids are picking up on that, man.
Well, I think they should and will, because anytime something you love is taken away from you, even for a shorter time, a month, or an extended time, a couple months, you know how that is. You miss it, and you find out how important it is to you, and that you don't want to take it for granted anymore. And I think a lot of the NBA players and all the players, the baseball players, the football players, possibly college athletes, are all feeling that now. And in the long run, they can use that to fuel themselves and help themselves, of not take it lightly. Oh, I got to go to practice today. You get to go to practice today. You get to play.
Hey, Paul, you just hit. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping is the biggest thing out of all of this. Instead of guys drudging going to practice, they start looking at it the opposite way now. That every day could be your last day. And I talk to the kids a lot about that, man. And I don't see why they don't. Ricky's telling us he lost the connection, but we moving on. I don't understand why they don't see that about the game, man. Any day you hear all these guys get hurt. You look at KD, is hurt. You look at Steph, is hurt. Got hurt. You look at Clay, got hurt. If that's not a sign, come on, young guys. At some point, you got to start really looking at how important it is to take care of your body and all that kind of stuff, and doing it at a young age.
Yeah, your basketball life is finite. You can't play forever, and you can end in many different ways. It could end in getting in the wrong situation where you didn't have your opportunity. It can end in injury. Some unexpected thing happens. Heck, you've seen it. I've seen guys pop their Achilles just going through a pickup game. I mean, it can happen at any time. And what happened to me, they just stopped paying me. Like, I never retired. They just said, don't come back. So
hey, you like my brother. George said he still could play, but they just won't pay me now. So
and I tell when my last year in the league, then I went to, it was in Golden State in '91, and then I went to the Spurs training camp, and my knee acted up on me, and I had to get it drained, and I couldn't play in a couple exhibition games, and they wanted me to be a veteran backup for David Robinson and help them in the playoffs, which the year before I had helped the Golden State Warriors beat the Spurs in the first round. So, but my knee kept acting up on me, and they had a younger player that wasn't as good as me, but made half the money, and they went with him. And then, you know, I tried to get on with some other teams and wasn't having it. So in the long run, I went over and played over in France for a year. And then I went back and was a player coach for Quad City Thunder in the CBA and with a really good team. And at that point, when I went over to France, I had lost like 15, 20 pounds and got back to like my young playing weight. I could actually still play, but like you know, NBA team said, well, we've moved on. So, you know, but like our point is your career is finite and you can't take, I know you do, and you work with a lot of younger players, and I do too, that, you know, oh, I don't want to do that drill. I don't want to, you never know when you'll never be able to do that drill again. You know, have fun with it, you know, take advantage of it. And, you know, time on the practice court, developing either its individual development or team development is so valuable. And you know, as a coach, maybe not as a player, but as a coach, I enjoy practices more than even games. I love helping players.
As a coach, how do you feel about a player asking you, you know how sometimes players get down and they come and they want to have a meeting with the coach, and then you have to still be kind of like the father figure, but you got to be coach because it's a business. And you know in your heart that this guy, his biggest issue is himself. He's not working hard enough. How do you handle a situation like that?
Well, I think when we had our show with Pace and Nico, Pace and Nico both, you know, kind of hit on that. And Pace really did. All players are different. And I learned that, you know, just like as a father, we have two sons and they're different. So sometimes some certain person needs a pat on the back, and sometimes they need a kick in the butt. And that's two differences. And as a coach, when you can realize and find out which players react better to which and what situations are best for that, that's when you become an effective coach. The days are long gone, you know, when you and I grew up. I mean, you know, just do what I said, just run, you know, those days are gone. And, you know, all players are different, and to get the most out of them, it's just, you know, it's just as much mental as it is physical. You know, you mentally can push yourself through a tough physical practice, you know, but you have to have some kind of motivation, and it might be a pat on the back or a kick in the butt. So, you know, I would look at that player and see which guy it was, and, you know, appeal to them or say, come on, man, step it up. You know who the competitors are. You know, you can challenge them, you know.
You think in our day, we had more authoritarian coaches. My coach in college was that way. We fought my entire freshman year. I told him only one of us is gonna win, man, at the end of the day. So I had to make some adjustments coming from Detroit, man. And then you go play with this coach. But I think you can be an authoritarian, but you still, away from the court, you have to kind of come outside of yourself and have a relationship with these players. I think if you do that, they'll go through a fire for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think like Popovich is a great example. You know, he's a military guy. He was an assistant in Golden State when I was there. He had an air about him of the military strictness, but he also had a way about him to know you personally, and you liked him. You know, he could hold you accountable, but you liked him. And that's why he's been so successful. I mean, he had talent and stuff like that. But, you know, that's very important. I mean, when I was coming up, you just, like I said a lot, you know, coach told you to run through the wall, you ran through the wall. You know, now when you're a coach and you want someone to run through the wall, you got to tell them why. You know, because this is why we want you to run through the wall. But, you know, it's so individualistic. And, you know, you work with a lot of young players that are just developing too. And that's so important on the court and off the court, that you inspire them, you know, both on the court and off the court to do maybe what they don't want to, or maybe what they don't think they can do. You know, I had a player last year. I was helping out an ABA team, a minor league team, you know, not a great league, but and he was a good player, and I could see that he could play. He really got good basketball IQ, good with the basketball, could shoot it when he wanted. I wanted him to shoot more. and he was so insecure, you know, and I talked to him after one practice. I said, hey, you know, you're one of the best players on this team. He's like, what? I said, I don't even know if I can make this team. I said, you're one of the best players on this team when you play the right way.
But he won't play. Damn,
Yeah,
Paul, excuse my language. I had a conversation with a dad this morning at 9 a.m., 7 a.m. Vegas time for you. And the kid was supposed to come work out, right? And I know stuff happens, but here's the thing. Dad's been asking me, all right? The kid's not playing up to par like they think he should be. And the boy can play. His defense, I don't have to work on. He's there. Offensively, he only wants to settle for the three-pointer, right? And he can be a player, but he'd rather sleep in, Paul. And I'm just being straight, man. I mean, could that be the problem? Why these guys are not playing up to par?
they want. I feel you, man. They want to sleep in or they want to play damn video games.
And then, but Ben, wonder what's wrong. I don't get it. What do you mean? Why aren't you playing up to par? Did you work out today? No, sir. Planning on working out today? Maybe tomorrow. And then you're asking me what's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then when you can run into that too, and you know, some players make the sacrifice and get up and they get in the gym, but then when they get in the gym, they just mess around. I'm like, I would tell those guys, listen, you made the sacrifice. You're in the gym on Sunday morning, right? Or Saturday morning at 8 a.m. with me. You're here. Now, so you've done stuff that 90% of your peers aren't doing right now. They're sleeping still, right? But now you got to go the next step, and you got to have purpose to this, or you're making a baby step, but you're not making the full step of getting something out of the next hour in the gym that you made a sacrifice to get to. And once you can get to that step and make the sacrifice to get there, and then make the sacrifice to do stuff that makes sense and can make you better, that's when you take huge strides as a player. That's when that dad will notice, wow, Junior look at what he's done. Well, you don't realize that he made a step to wake up and then get to the gym and then work hard when he was there, you know?
But your role is just as important. Well, I just like what you did as a coach. A lot of coaches would just tell them, you might as well go home, get back in the bed. You found a way to turn. You found a way to turn it into a positive just by them getting up, doing something. You've already done one step positive, so we might as well keep it moving, keep it going.
Yeah, the tactic I've used in my coaching career that way is when my team is, you know how it is, they're sluggish or they're not, and I've got on them a couple times, and practice is just wishy-washy, like, you know, I'll get them together and I'm not going to scream at them, and I'll say, listen, you're wasting your time here and you're wasting my time in the gym. I mean, if we have 1 hour left, we're not going to pick it up and get some things accomplished. Let's just go home right now, you know? And 99% of the time they pull it together and they have a good practice for the next hour, you know? But, you know, just scream at guys to leave the gym is counterproductive.
Ricky, welcome back. I was just going to close us down and tell everybody just to tune in and how special a show that we have coming up Monday, and just to tune in.
Oh, absolutely, man. I lost my power. My phone now. We lost power.
I don't even want to give away any information because I think the three of us have something going good no matter who's the guest, with or without a guest. So all I'll say is that I hope people tune in Monday. And we got a special show, and I'll leave it at that. And we just appreciate all the listeners that have started joining the show, and I hope they continue for the duration.
Before we close off, then I want to get both your guys, not predictions, but your ideas, since the NBA is coming back, knock on wood, and playing all these games on TV, which we get to see. Yeah. Give me two teams from the East you like and two teams on the West you like. Go ahead, D.
You go first, Ricky, because mine will be easy and quick.
That's easy for me. Milwaukee and Toronto are easily the two best teams in the East to me, and both the LA teams in the West. I think those are the four best teams in the league right now.
Well, Paul, I agree with three of them. If we didn't have Corona, before Corona, I had Milwaukee, Toronto, and the two LA teams. But after Corona, I have Milwaukee and the Celtics, and the Lakers, Clippers.
You got the Lakers, Clippers? No
Yes.
Portland? No
Oh,
Portland?
no, because I think, no, I'm going to tell you why. I think they're going to make the Lakers, I really do think they're going to end up meeting in the first round. And I think they're going to strengthen the Lakers. I can see them taking the Lakers 6 tough games. And I don't think they're capable of winning because they still haven't learned how to close yet. And then you got LeBron on the other end. I think LeBron is going to uplift AD because AD's never really learned how to finish as yet either. But having LeBron, I think he'll be the X factor in this series. And I would take them to beat Portland in the 6-game series in the first round. I really believe that's what's going to be the series.
The other thing could happen too, that Portland could take a lot out of the Lakers too.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going with the Lakers, Clippers in the West. However, D, I think you've sold me a little bit. I have Houston in there as maybe a dark horse.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I think, and I have my Bucks in the East for sure. You know, I Nick Nurse, you know, we're on the same staff in Great Britain overseas, and you know, he's done a hell of a job. But I'm probably going to go with you and the Celtics, I think, in the East. And here's a question for Ricky too, and for you, D. So are we giving up in believing the process now? Are we giving up on the 76ers? Are they done? No one's talking about believing the process anymore. Is that process dead and buried?
I don't think hey, I'm going to tell you this, Paul. And you know, me personally, I have feelings for Philly being drafted by Philly, and Tobias is there. You know, Tobias Harris, his dad was my agent. Man, I just don't think they're missing something. Last year, I thought, you know, they had C.J. McConnell. I thought he played well, but he's not a, you know, first-tier player. I thought they needed a player like Chris Paul. They still missing a leader. They brought in Josh Richardson, very athletic, but they don't have that guy that'll get up in your face, Paul. You know, that guy that might have to tell Joel Embiid to get his big butt down low and be more Moses Malone instead of Manute Bol. So I think Philly has a potential to do that, but until they get a leader, I can't see them going very far.
And I think you hit on it. One of the biggest problems I have is Embiid. I mean, he thinks he's that leader, and he's really not. And whether he'll listen to somebody or not is a toss-up. And if he doesn't, there goes the process. Womp, 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 down the tube.
Hey guys, when you got a player like that, he's your starter team, but you know there's more, and you on that roster. Is there anything you can say to a guy like that to maybe push him?
Can I answer that, Paul? Here goes the problem right here, okay? The problem is not Embiid. The problem is Brett Brown, okay? We got an issue. And I've listened to ESPN and all that, and I'm bringing it right here to you guys. Who says Embiid is the leader? In Ben Simmons' mind, Ben Simmons is the leader. And that's the problem. No one has been told the pecking order in Philly. They need to go ahead, and the coach needs to step up, let them know what's going to be the system. We're going to do it our way, not your way. And that hasn't happened in Philly yet. And that's their biggest issue.
Yeah, I mean, and the bottom line is, I've told you the story before, they have to accept their position, which that's another problem, right? So you can be told, hey, listen, you ain't the leader, this guy's the leader, and you don't accept it. Now you got even a worse problem than you had before, but I agree. I mean, but, you know, as far as Brett Brown's a really good coach. I've coached against him. He coached the Australian team. He coached one of the biggest comebacks I've ever seen in my life against us, Great Britain. We were up by 18 at halftime, and we had 20 minutes left to close out the game, and they beat us by 20 in the second half. A really good Australian team, you know, with Patty Mills and all those guys. But NBA is a different animal, and those players are different kind of people.
Okay, here you guys.
But
you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's the time for one of those guys to go then, Embiid or The other kid.
Paul, you don't announce yourself as the leader, do you? You just demonstrate it by your actions, not only in games but in practice and in everyday life on the team. Isn't that how a leader is established?
Yeah, it's very hard for a coach to declare a leader for sure. You know, but and the leader,
I can't hear you guys.
the leader should be a good player. Doesn't have to be the best player. Also, you know, they lost JJ Redick. They let him go, who was a great shooter. I don't know if he had leadership qualities, but someone like that could help too.
Well, Paul, I think we shut it down for the day. We lost Derrick. I lost Paul. Yeah, we can hear you, Derrick. We can hear you.
I can't hear you guys.
Okay. Okay, well, we're going to shut it down, Paul.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, to all our listeners out there and viewers, please check us out Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for the Gerv and Big Mo show. This is Ricky Hampton saying goodbye for Paul and Derrick, who can't hear us, but he'll be able to hear us on Monday.
Peace
Take
out.
care, everybody. Peace.
Facebook Live. Facebook Live.
Later, guys.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ricky?